Hello, my loves. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. I am so happy you guys are here. Let's hold space for everyone in this room, in this sacred energy. I just want to really extend my deepest gratitude for all of you and your support. Okay? So, my loves, I decided I wanted to do a quick but informative chatty video based off different methods of healing. Okay, so this is going to be really, I'm going to try to flow. It's not pre-rehearsed. I'm going to just try to kind of give you guys some guidelines. But before I do that, let's go ahead and give a few shout outs to everyone who has donated to the channel, everybody who has been amazing and has offered me the gift of gratitude, of maybe a token of appreciation via messaging, email, and I'm really happy, you guys, that, you know, my content has been helpful because I am on this journey with you. So with that being said, Rod, thank you so much for your generous donation. Alma, Shay, Mariah, and Nicole. Wow, my heart, you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Seriously, my ancestors are praying for you and your manifestation. And you already know how my ancestors roll. Yes, if you are good to me, my ancestors will to you, right? And vice versa. This is the act of healing, connecting with your ancestors, understanding where you come from. And most of our ancestors really want us to lead with compassion and love, because that is how we benefit from the majority of the abundance in this world, is by leading with our heart and kindness. So really quick, you guys, if you guys have emailed me, give me a few days. I am in the middle of another move. So I'm going to kind of, I'm all over the place a little, trying to make sure that I'm grounded, and I'll get back to you. Just please hold space for me. And if you are a client that you want a reading right away, I have to be very transparent. Right now, things are kind of up in the air and I have to kind of be in flow. So I really require patience. Yeah, I require some patience. So yes, you guys, let's take a deep breath. Shall we? Where are we on this healing journey? Deep breath in, the negativity out, right? So, okay, and if you are new, I am a psychic medium, you guys, but I want to just say, before I start this video, it's really important to understand who you are before we start healing, right? When I started therapy, I was like about 25 years old. And, I told my therapist, he had asked me, he goes, well, why are you here? What brings you in at 25, right? And I remember I had just lost a best friend. I had just lost a partner. And I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about, that moment where you feel like you're spiraling, right? You're like, shoot, I think I need some help. I'm sure we've all been there, right? Comment below. Please don't forget, you guys, to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Get my content out there. Really help our little community here. I'm really excited to invite new energy as well. So I looked around and I was like, oh my gosh, I think I just need to connect, right? And one of the things that he really emphasized was the fact that I just needed to know myself. Okay, I needed to know myself and who I was in order to heal. So we're going to lead this video with, do you know who you are before you start healing? And do you know your weaknesses and strengths? So let's clarify. Weaknesses do not have to be bad, because our ego will never accept a weakness. Does that make sense? Our ego says we're perfect. This is where we begin to become incredibly frustrated with the world around us, right? Our ego says we're perfect. There's nothing wrong with us. We're projecting. We're like, it's everybody else's problem. It's never mine. This is the beginning of healing. So I want you guys to take a pause and ask yourself, who am I? Where am I on this journey? Where am I going on this healing journey? What is the purpose of my healing, right? So it's almost like you're planting a tree. Think about your ancestor tree, your tree of life. You plant the roots and then you start watering it. You can't just grow a tree without roots because then you're just going to have a floating tree, right? So, how to heal? You guys, the reality is we are all on different paths, different journeys, different experiences. We come from different backgrounds, different cultures, different triggers, different reactions. So I want you guys to really acknowledge who you are. You could take the love language quiz. I will leave the link below. You can talk to a therapist. Highly, highly recommended. Why? I want you guys to really quick hold space for me. The reason why it's important to at least give therapy a try more than once is because, one, not every therapist specializes in your needs. For instance, I will specialize in art therapy. I'm going to specialize, with youth or trauma or PTSD. Like, a lot of this is going to be my niche. So if someone comes to me with something that I'm not specializing in, yes, I can absolutely, down the line accept. But I'm a spiritualist. I believe in holistic healing. So I may not be a very linear therapist, right, down the line. So keep this in mind, you guys. Let's say if you're trying to work on your family healing, take the time to look up what your therapist specializes in so you do not trigger yourself in thinking that every therapist is an ASS hole, right? For not giving you the specific attention that you need or anything, you guys, because not every therapist is going to be in alignment with your needs. It's important to say, I want to heal my, family stuff. This is why it's important to know yourself, because in the world, we are expecting people to understand us when we're not communicating. Coming from someone who was silenced as a kid, I just didn't know how to communicate. I didn't know what I needed. I didn't know how to express myself. And so it was really painful for me when people didn't show up. Like, why do I have, what? We have to communicate. Yeah. So part of communication is really understanding yourself and your needs. So what are your needs in a therapist? Is it family? Are you trying to heal your family? Are you trying to heal some kind of, sexual assault? Trigger warning. Okay. Are you moving through a depression? And if you don't know, this is a good time to step in and say, listen, I am here to understand myself. I don't know if therapy is the right thing for me, but I'm going to give this a shot. So can you tell me what you specialize in? Because these are my symptoms that I'm having, and this is what I need support in. Yeah. So the reason why, therapy is super important is because if you are anything like myself, holding space, right? We are all healing here together. If you're anything like myself, I did not like talking to people about my problems because I never felt supported, right? And I never felt understood, especially with family. Is it their fault? No. So here, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because we have such a high rate of depression, of hidden pain, hidden anger and frustration, and then we're projecting it out into ourselves, into other people, because we feel misunderstood, right? Suicide rates are high. By the way, I have a link below if you guys need some resources. So I never talked about my feelings to anyone. I never discussed my problems to anybody. It was really hard for me to talk about it because the thought of someone not reacting the way I wanted them to react would send me into an effing spiral, right? And I have a lot of pride. So I knew myself. Like, I don't want to give someone the gift of knowing my weakness so they can turn it around and use it against me at some point, right? Like, that was my mindset back then. So I want you guys to understand it's really important to hold space for what you need when you're healing. Because a lot of my clients, we start off with our reason. What is the reason? And of course, I get to channel it, right? We get the spiritual aspect of healing, but what about the earth aspect, like our earth plane, our brain chemistry, our hormones, where we come from? We need a balance. If you asked me, can spiritual, healing take care of all that? Absolutely, because I'm biased. Right? I'm a healer. So this is what I do. Yes, I want to say, spirituality can handle everything because our spirit body comes first. We were souls before we were bodies, right? So that's my mindset, and it's very true. So if you kind of move into the earth plane, people like, Western medicine, it's very much like, okay, you have depression, here's Prozac. You have this, here's some pills. You have that, here's some, whatever. There's always a fix it, right? With symptoms of conditions, you get on pills, you have a bunch of reactions to it. Sometimes you guys need it, okay? Hold space for both. You have two beautiful outlets for healing. You have Western, what I call Western, and then you have your own ancestor, the way of the ancestors, right? Two. I like to do both. Okay. So what do you need to heal? Who are you? Number two. If you guys are feeling like, I don't know what I need to heal, I don't know why I'm feeling in the funk, it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to have all the answers. But what's really important is to hold space for your own evolution. Like, give yourself a chance, you guys, to brainstorm. So you can say, hey, if it's not a therapist, a trusted friend. I'm biased because I don't really, I've had stuff with trust in people. So I like to kind of go where I know I can pay and I can get what I need, right? So if you're anything like myself, a transactional relationship would probably feel a lot better instead of having someone, or the fear of betrayal, okay? So hold space for the kind of like sacred space that you need. Yeah? Okay. So if you need a friend, talk to a friend, brainstorm. The biggest thing, a healing method, please communicate your pain. Here are a few methods: writing, expressing, art. There's so many different ways. And, you guys, I remember one time I was super, super in a lot of pain where I I was in a moment where I kind of poisoned myself on accident. It was a really rough time. I was working 3 jobs. I was in college. I was trying to make it, I was living in a weird situation. And, I felt the emptiness of not having my faith, not having God, not having any light. I think I said this in the last video where I gave up my faith. It was like a really hard lesson for me, right? He said, okay, well, you don't, I have a very strong connection to God, you guys, very divine, very divine. And it's not perfect. This is what I want to teach. We are all losing faith in our lights because we think that if we're not going to church or if we're not doing what the Lord wants, then the Lord is turning his back on us. That is far from the truth. I recently beautiful healing method. I just held space for 5 minutes of confession to the Lord. sorry, you guys, I get really emotional because my faith is what saved me. Okay. So 5 minutes. And you know what's the best part? He didn't interrupt. Lord doesn't interrupt. He doesn't judge. I was telling him all kinds of shit that was in my head. Like, this is what I'm hurting from. Right? 5 minutes. And I just felt his light. And he did not judge me. There was no like, this is what you need to do. He just held space in this beautiful cocoon of light. Another healing method. But what's really important, you guys, you have to talk about it. If you are not getting this out of your system, the number one priority of your healing, you have to get it out of your body. If you're not getting it out of your body, you are going to suffer from chronic depression, physical ailments, low energy, fatigue. And a lot of us are walking around with different kind of health problems and we don't know why. Yes, genetics is a thing. Yes, lifestyle is a thing. But we have to remember, where is our heart? It's like we're working, we're so focused on this hamster wheel of making the money, right? And we're really hardworking and we got to do this. We got to go home. How many mothers are in here, right? Fathers, like we're A, B, and C, A, B, and C. But what about our spirit? What about prayer? So get it out, you guys. Going back to my story really quick, just because I'm sure one person here has been there. I remember thinking to myself that night, I was so lost. I felt so dark. I felt so empty because I gave up my faith in the Lord. I gave up my faith. I didn't want to hear about him anymore. I was so depressed, right? So I like accidentally poisoned I was just trying to, it was a misunderstanding on the reading label, okay? A little clumsy. And I called the lift and I was like, I need to get a fan. I'm on a budget. I'm a college student. I didn't have money, but I was like, I have to do something. I have to sleep, right? Like I literally almost passed out from the fumes. Like I was just so exhausted from, the 3 jobs, the 2 jobs, the hustling, the homework and having to take care of myself, having to take care of the people I love. And I just burned myself out and I literally almost right? Then having to face people not being there for me, feeling very left out, feeling like there's so much negativity in my body, right? There was so much anger in my body from feeling like, why is it that I can be there for other people and I ask for one thing a year and it's an emergency? And it's like, right? You can imagine how that feels, right? This is the reason why I really want us to come together with this healing method, you guys, is because this is where my heart started to close. I started to become numb. Because no one gave a F about my pain. Right? Got into the Lyft driver's car and I was in tears. I was in effing tears. Because all I saw was the lack of support. That's all I saw around me. And I was about to die. That's how I felt, my health, right? Yes, I did it to myself, but hey, you know what? I make mistakes. I'm a human being. I'm overworked. I was barely eating. I was hustling. I'm trying to get myself out of wherever I was all by myself. How many people in here are doing this? Several of us, right? And you know what I decided to do? Because I don't cry. I don't like to cry. It's never been my style because I come from a family where we are all very, very, very tough. Survival, fight or flight. The way we dealt with pain is we said, what's the issue? We don't have time to cry. We need to handle it, right? And if you cry, it's like, we don't have time for that. We don't have time to talk. We don't have time to hold space. What is the survival here? Single parent home. I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate. So you know what I did? I didn't know this poor Lyft driver. The reason why I say poor, because he had no idea what was coming to him. I was crying in his car. And I said, you know what? Can I talk to you for a second? I need someone to talk to. Can I tell you about my night? I said, listen, I'm going to tell you about my night. Because I cannot believe how people are so effing cruel. I cannot imagine for 1 second someone calling me that I love, or even a stranger out on the street, in this condition and saying, oh, I'm doing something, or oh. And like many of us, I'm sure a lot of us are very prideful. We have a lot of shame around our vulnerability. The one time we ask, if you're anything like me, you do not have to be like me, but I want you to take pieces of this story, because I'm sharing my pain with you, because I know this is going to help you guys. The one time a year, because me and my best friend, we talk about this all the time, and we both have a very independent relationship, a Libra. She's so similar. Because whenever she does ask that one time a year for a card pull, I say yes and on the spot. Because not once has she ever turned her back on me, right? And I don't need her every day. We have a great relationship, great friendship. We heal each other, but we are very, we do our own thing. We talk once a week, once a month, but you know what? The loyalty is there. So I want you guys to make sure, please, you have a friend or a support system at the minimum that is very much like that. Listen, I said, listen, Lyft driver, I need to tell you. And I was crying. I was hysterical. And I was like, I don't understand how people can be so cruel when you expect them to be, supportive. At this specific time, I was about 25 years old, 25. I had a very, turbulent relationship with my family. I didn't feel supported during an emergency. But did that define my relationship with my family? Absolutely not, because we are growing, we are thriving, we're healing each other every day, right? Because that is what compassion is all about, you guys. It's not saying that one time you weren't there for me. It's about can we grow and heal together? You know what the Lyft driver did? He gave me some water. He gave me a napkin. Gratitude. That's a gift. He could have just said nothing. He could have just acted like there was nothing wrong with me. Not acknowledge my pain, right? Not acknowledge what I was going through. That was a gift. That saved me. That saved me. I was not in a good place, right? I was not in a good place mentally. So this is what I'm saying. And I'm going to tell you this. This is why I'm so big, because I had a client ask me, like, what made you want to get into the collective energy? What made you want to get into humanitarianism? Because strangers have saved my life. Literally, it was never the people who were close to me. It was the people who I knew the least. Why? Because of my perspective. Because I saw the gift of loyalty in people who did not know me. It's always easy that way, right? Because when you start connecting with somebody, you start a bond with somebody, you start projecting. There's a lot of projection of your own stuff, of what you see in yourself, what you see in them. Maybe if, they're triggering you or you're triggering them. And then it becomes like, if you're not like this specific person, then it becomes uncomfortable, right? So this is why it was easier for me to connect with the collective. This is why I want you to know you guys should not be holding on to your pain. And I'll tell you why. I don't like using the word should not, because it's free will. Listen, you guys, we have to get rid of shame. I don't give a Listen, I don't care who I have to tell. And that's not always true, because it's easy to say that now. But when I went through what I went through most recently, it was really hard for me to, after crying my eyes out, after, telling someone I did not know, what had happened to me because I felt comfortable with the spiritual background. I felt understood. It was embarrassing to see this person again, right? Because I was like crying for like an hour, hysterical, because I didn't want people to think I was going crazy with the stuff that I was going through. And this is where I want to slightly touch base on mental illness and the way we coin this in such a way where we're always like, oh, they're crazy. Are they this? Are they that? Right? The reason why I say that is because, believe it or not, you guys, a lot of people who are schizophrenic, which I'm not, but the symptoms that I was having from what I went through at this house, from ritual abuse, an assimilation of mind control, satanic rituals that were abusive, it is an assimilation of you losing your effing mind. So imagine walking around as someone who might have this condition, right? And they have to hide it because they don't want to be coined as crazy. And literally, I could not sympathize with this more because I had to go through something similar where I was like, how am I going to tell people what I'm going through when half of us are not really seeing with hearts? We're not feeling with our hearts. We're looking with judgment, or at least to hold space, because we don't understand, and that's okay. We just say, hey, I don't understand, but I want to hold space for you. How can I be here for you? Right? If you guys need to talk about it and you're feeling embarrassed or you're feeling uncomfortable, go talk to a stranger about it. And no expectation for people to feel for you or to feel for your story, because you know what is the gift? When they hold space for you. And you know what holding space is? If they listen, they're present, that's holding space. Look at that as the gift. You know why? Because it's not about their reaction. That is ego. It's not about someone saying, oh my gosh, I am so... Listen, that's a gift too. Someone to just understand. We're not all empathic, you guys. We all struggle with our different, stuff, right? Someone just saying, okay, well, wow, that shit's, crazy, or whoa, like that's intense. Or if they don't say anything at all, well, hey, you know what? The point is you got it off your chest. That's all you need. Do not look at, am I getting validation for what I'm healing for? This is where we struggle. We need to be objective, not subjective. Objective means you are an observer of your life, because the only way I have survived, and I swear, you guys, I can write a book, and I am not being arrogant, I'm not being pompous. I am just saying that the trials, the only way, I've got my stuff, you guys, I'm quirky, I got anxiety, I have a lot of my issues. But you know what? I own it. I say, this is who I am. And I'm working through it. No one's perfect, right? So everywhere I go, if I'm having a day, and if I see an opportunity to talk to someone about it, I will talk to someone about it. If I don't see an opportunity to talk to a stranger, I prefer to talk to strangers about my stuff. It may not be very in-depth, like, oh my God, but let it out. Whatever you're comfortable with. Let it be, you guys, just boom. When you guys comment on my posts and it's like an extensive, heartfelt, this is what I went through with my grandmother, this is what I went through with my mother, you guys are letting it out. This is what I want you to do, but there should be no expectation of a pat on the back, because that is where we get disappointed. Because then it's not for you, it's for someone else. This is your story. This is your narrative. This is about you healing, not about someone else holding you and saying, I get it. Because, my loves, as much as I want to believe in my mind that we can all be empathic at any day, any time, the reality is we're all human. We all got shit, right? We all got different backgrounds. Talk about it. If there's no one to talk to, creative writing. Start writing it out. That was incredibly challenging for me to write. I could talk about my stuff, easy, but writing about it, oh my gosh. I'm like traumatic. Something about my words and seeing what I experienced through words, oh my goodness. It would send me into a spiral. So if you are if you are triggered in that way, in a similar way, save the writing. Find another method. Art. This is how I've survived all my life. Art. You know why? Because I don't have to talk about it. I don't have to hold space for people to get it. I don't have to feel disappointed when someone doesn't respond the way I want them to. I just paint and I talk to my ancestors. So people, a lot of my clairvoyants out here, a lot of my clairaudience, a lot of my psychics that are developing their gifts, my intuitive readers, connect with your ancestors and your roots. Like where do you come from? So you can get some more guidance. Some people need, there's more of a reliance on community, which is fine. Find a tribe that gets you. Okay? You got to find people that they have to get you. Okay. Healing. Remaining neutral. Remaining balanced. Remain balanced. If you guys are dealing with your own trauma and you're faced with people around you who are, maybe family. This is usually with family, you guys, or people that you love that may not understand you. Please don't internalize that as personal, because that is a trigger for a lot of the majority, where we feel so misunderstood by the people we love. I want you to repeat something that got me through, because to this day, as much as I would like to kind of exercise what I went through, with my mother, there's always a limitation of what how far she can kind of get it. And there's nothing wrong with that, because what's sufficient is the fact that she's holding space for me. That's sufficient. The fact that she can just say, wow, I'm going to pray, right? Or, wow, okay. And then we get, let me tell you about my day. How many of us? And inside we're screaming like, did you just hear what I did? You guys, I know I'm not alone here. And if I am, well, then so be it. How many times are we faced with our wonderful, wonderful loved ones, and we're really feeling deeply about something, and they're like, well, let me tell you about Saturday night. And you're like, you want to effing, inside you're screaming. You're like, did you just hear what I just said? And don't take it personal, you guys, because this is where I think we kind of fall victim to our pain a lot deeper. I'm not minimizing trauma here. Detach from the outcome, detach from being understood. This is why I think it's important to have support systems in terms of support groups, like networks, not just friends, not just family, because they can only meet you as far as they've met themselves. People, listen, if you would have told me when I was 21 how to hold space for somebody, I would just, I get it. And then I would just chime in and say, I've been through this and this and this, because that was how I learned. I didn't know any other way. And then each year you evolve, you learn different methods, right? So there's no judgment. Healing methods, you guys, community, like centers, go to centers and really be around people who are committed to what they want to commit to in terms of their healing, are speaking, a group. Don't be ashamed. You have to get fear out the way. Fear is what, it's the devil's work. This is why we are where we are in 2020, moving into 2021. Fear of speaking, fear of expressing our vulnerability, fear of life. If you guys cannot take a chance, I want you to take a deep breath and say, what is so bad about being around people or a therapist who can support me? Personally, I like transactional. I want to pay for my service. And that's not arrogance. That's because I do not want it to be personal. I don't want someone's personal opinion about me, right? I personally want professional help. I don't want, my family is beautiful, you guys. There's nothing wrong with them, but I prefer to have an exchange of energy, where it's not one-sided. Because if you are as empathic as I can be, you know yourself that when it comes to your stuff, someone saying the wrong thing or just making just a calloused comment, it could send you into a spiral. And at 25, I knew that. You know why? I had a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful coworker, Capricorn, very, very strong, wonderful person. She said, you know what? I was giving her a little bit of my problems just because she was older than me. I felt comforted. She was a strong, leader. And I just felt like she held space, I told her my stuff and she's like, you know what, girl? Try my therapist in San Jose. See, maybe it'll help. That was the biggest gift. You know why? Because I had reached a point in my life where I was like, if I don't get help, I don't know what the hell I'm doing with myself. And I don't want other people to tell me how to live my life. And I don't want opinions from people who are not healed. I want it from someone who is healed. I wanted it back then. I wanted it from someone who could be sensitive with my pain. That I knew, right? So this is why I'm sharing this with you. Don't look away from resources. We're all caught up in this world where we're all sitting with our pain and silence. Find methods, you guys. Movement, dance. I want you to dance. When you move your body, you release a lot of your stress. Purification, spiritual baths, use salts. Get rid of your aura, like the stuff from all day from our aura. Our mind kind of plays tricks on us and we're constantly thinking about negative energies. Listen, this is a hard time, you guys. We're all stressed out. The thing I want you guys to understand is there are methods, there are resources. There's more than one other way to do this than to just sit with our pain, because this is what I'm stressed out about. Because what I see on a daily basis is some kind of anger being projected on this world. Listen, I'm not immune. I got a temper, okay? Or we're all silencing our pain and then we snap, right? Or we have moments where we make decisions that are not the best. Alcoholism, we're numbing. Drugs, we're numbing. A negative self-talk. I don't want to see this, because we're better than that. We can elevate ourselves. We can grow, right? Dance, movement, run. Running is great for dopamine in the brain, Okay, it balances you out, gives you that, the runner's high. If you can't do any of the above, I want you guys to limit the I can't. If you are saying I cannot, start there. My therapist used to always tell me that. When I'd be like, I don't know why. Quickly. And I loved it. And he would call me out. And he still calls me out on my okay? You know why? Because I wanted help. And believe me, he calls me out. And I don't like it. I don't like to be told what's wrong with me. I don't like that. I don't want to know. Even though I know, right? So this isn't so much about calling yourself out, but when you hear yourself say, I can't, take a step back. Growing up, my clients with my work, there was always, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that and I can't do this. Okay. And then I would say, what can you do? So what can you do today for, some healing for self? If you guys got to get on the phone with a girlfriend, a friend, whoever, and say, listen, I need 5 minutes. This is what I've done, because I do not want someone to be like, I don't have time, because that would hurt my feelings. So I try and I say, listen, I need 5 minutes to vent. Do you have 5 minutes? And they'll say yes or no. If they say no, I will not take it personal. That means I need to figure out another method. This is what I want you guys to understand. People turning their back on you is not personal. And no, it's not about dealing with it on your own. Trust me, this is my story. And I still do it, but I reach a point where I'm like, I need help or I need support. Don't be afraid to say, do you have 5 minutes? If someone says no, I rationalize with positivity. I say they have their own life. They have boundaries. Maybe they're not in a good place to be there for me. It's not their responsibility. Then go to the next method. What's your next method, you guys? Writing, music, singing. Sing, get it out. Start singing. Use your throat chakra. If that doesn't help, do you guys see the system here? I want you guys to try. This is about trying to get grief and pain and PTSD out of your system, because you guys, including myself, we are becoming a tragedy here. And I'm not saying this negatively. What I'm saying is, people fall out on the street and you know what I see? This. People looking away. Well, that's not my business. And I'm like, wow, like this is something I really want to see change. Because that could be my grandfather. That could be, my father. That could be my mother. I would want someone to say, yes, let me help you. And I'm not perfect. I'm not saying that everything I see when I'm out on the street, I'm jumping out to save somebody, because that's not true. My readers, my light workers, you want to open up your psychic abilities, open up your crown chakra by the gift of humanity. Be there for other people. Methods of healing. Be there for other people and watch the Lord open your heart. He will gift you a paradise if you can heal yourself and heal others. There's always a test, you guys. Big test. If movement, dancing, listen, I just started doing push-ups for myself at home. Like I'll just do, when I feel very anxious, to get some of the stuff, the trauma out of my body. I can only do 1, 2, or 3, but it helps. Breathe, breath work. Okay? Especially if you're triggered. If somebody comes in and they're saying something, listen, breathe. I want you to breathe from your rib cage. Hold space for meditation. This is essential. Meditate, you guys. Meditate, because before meditation, my anger was so insane that I would go into a rage. And I know it's hard to believe it here. And it was never to other people, it was to myself. I was very self-destructive, very angry. When you meditate, you connect to the divine, the creator. When you meditate, you're calm. Not for other people. Listen, that's a big part of it, but don't you want to be calm too? I mean, we want to react in a way where we are showing other people the way. Because we learn by what we see, believe it or not. No matter how much we want to believe, we're not learning. This is why society, they use media as a way to manipulate our brains. This is why they're using commercials, reality shows. There's nothing wrong with it, you guys, but I'm just saying, I want you to pay attention to what's happening. They use marketing as a way to manipulate our emotions on how we should be. And that's perfectly fine, because you know what? The industry is the industry. I believe in businesses. But what I don't believe in is the fact that as human beings, we are not showing each other the way. If you know something, if you have a resource, share it. Because that's what my ancestors do. This is how we work. We do not hoard information. We do not hoard abundance. We do not, hold on to things that we could share with humanity. Meditation will save your life. It will open your third eye. A lot of you guys are like, I want to open my gifts. I want to improve my gifts. Meditate. Okay? Start with 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. And the gift is being in the present, and no one can rock you or shake you from your peace. We are all human. We're working through it. Okay, if that doesn't work, go for a drive. I love my drives because I just daydream. That's where I feel my emotions. That's where I cry in my car. And I love it because it's an experience for me. I listen to music. I don't care about who's looking. I want you guys to give yourselves the gift of being human. I used to cry at the grocery store. If I really needed to, I would just be like, dude, this, it hurts. Like, right? And I would just go through the aisles and I would say, okay. And, I'd get the looks like, what's going on with this girl? Is she losing her mind? Is she crazy? You guys, I'm a channeler, okay? I try not to channel people because I don't really want to know what they're thinking about me. I don't care. On my day-to-day, I'm focused on my own emotional sanity. But, there a lot of the looks are enough. If you're giving looks, it's a representation of how you're feeling of someone. Your facials, right? So I said, you know what? I'm going to just look down and I'm going to shop and I'm not going to look at anybody and I'm going to let my tears come down even for 2 minutes because I cannot hold it in my body anymore. If you guys want to try it, try it. Try something that would make you normally feel ashamed and work through your fear. If that doesn't work, write down what makes you feel good, how to heal. Spiritual baths, mint, basil, Epsom salt, brown sugar, prayer. You guys, we are so disconnected from prayer. I hope you guys get the gist. Okay, I'm not here to preach Christianity or being Catholic because, in the eyes of God, my relationship with God is very single. It's a single unity here. Because I'm very open-minded and I'm very spiritual, but I'm not going to church every week. And I don't know half of what the Bible looks like. But my relationship to God, I confess whenever I really need to. And He doesn't judge. Or He doesn't tell me what's wrong. Or He doesn't tell me, He listens. I want you guys to try prayer, okay? If that doesn't work, stretch. Stretch your body. I've been stretching my body to get my brain chemistry back in shape, back to center after what I went through. PTSD is no joke, you guys. Shock trauma is no joke. And this is what I see my wonderful military servicemen and women go through. They are walking around in civilian life like a ticking time bomb because they don't feel like they can talk about it with anyone. And I always, dating men in the military, it was always like, people don't effing get it. Of course, right? We didn't go to war. Someone else had that experience overseas. But holding space with empathy and love for even 10 minutes for a stranger, for somebody, you could save a life. Why is that important? Because one person that you can change their perspective on a cruel life, they'll say, okay, well, met one person here that had empathy. Maybe the world isn't too bad. If that doesn't work, I want you to ask yourself for 1 second, going back to self-analysis, what is hurting? What is bothering me? What do I need? And if you can't figure it out, try something. Go lay down with the earth, you guys. This is what I do every single day. I've cried at the park. I don't give a shit. Okay? I don't care. I'm over there stretching. I look bizarre with my Reiki movements. And I give myself the gift of compassion with everybody. Back in the day, I used to see, people walk by and I used to be like, now I make a point to say hello, not for them, but for myself, because I want to connect. And I'm not perfect. I need a lot of space. I need a lot of space to work through my trauma, to work through my pain. I need a lot of solitude. So if you're anything like me, and if you struggle to connect with people, make it a habit to say hello. I've said hi to people and I've gotten looks. They ignore me and I'm like, okay, they're having a bad day. Or maybe they don't want to talk. Cool. It's not my stuff to carry. Get in the habit of this, you guys, because while you're healing, you're going to be in a position of vulnerability. And I want you to take away the pain of not being understood. Because what happens is we go through pain, like painful situations in life. And this is a perfect time for the vibration to lower, right? And what happens is we get attacked. And I've seen it for myself. When I've had a really rough day, and there was another thing that happened, and there was another thing that happened. You know that saying, when it rains, it pours. And then another person being an ASS. And then another person coming in and it's just like this. Boom, 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 boom. Right? And then what do we do in response to that? What do? We close ourselves. And we're like, you know what? Why am I even good to people when I've been through this and no one has been there for me? This is the devil's work. And I'm sorry, you guys, if you guys are not, I know we have, a variety of beliefs here, religion. Please, I hope you are not taking this personal, or, if this is not your thing, that's okay. Let's call it darker forces. This is where darker forces become parasitic because they're in our ear. People don't care about you. Why do you care about them? They try to lower your vibration so low so they can attack you and inhabit your body. And then once these parasites inhabit your body, you are no longer feeling God's light. You are no longer feeling God's light. Then you're walking around feeling super angry and dark at the world. So why would darker forces want this? Because they don't want you to hold space for the world that we're trying to create as healers, as spiritualists. This is spiritual warfare, what I went through. And they're persuasive because they will pinpoint, right? It's not even voices, but the energies or the reaction. These are tests in life, you guys. Who are you when you go through something really, really painful, and then you have 1, 2, 3 people coming at you and they're still trying to throw you down? And you're like, what the for being a good person. This is what happens to my empaths, my people who are empathic. This is why the darker forces try to influence us, because we hold space for the light above, for our wings, for what we're doing here on earth for humanity. They don't want that down there. What they want to see is cruelty. That's what they want to see. Because they want to see this world full of hate, violence. Does that make sense? So you're going to be tested. This is the true test of who you are. It's not when things are good. Okay? Our Creator, the Lord, if you want to call it the universe, the higher power, one of my followers said something really beautiful. I think they were atheists. They were not a believer. And hey, that's okay. A higher source. Let's call it source. Right? This is a test. I remember getting hit very hard in life, and I was this close to turning off my heart. And that's scary. And we all go through this. So, healing methods. The biggest thing, I'm going to leave you guys with this. The biggest thing I want you to refrain from is I can't. And if this is a part of your process, like you have to move through your emotions of pain, of crying, of trying to sort through it, then yes, because you know what? We all have a way, you guys. If it's like a very, episode of crying on the floor, then that's what it is. Hold space for yourself. Don't feel shame. Don't stay there forever. But if you need a day where you need to be in silence and you need to cry, I tell myself this every day. It's okay to cry. It's okay. Why am I so resistant? Let it out. It's okay. So I do it on my drive. And I have to tell myself, I don't give a about what people think. I'm in my car, mind your business. I literally have this dialogue in my head, you guys, because I am so ashamed of my vulnerability. Okay? Get rid of I can't. Movement, therapy, community support, community network, calling a friend, calling family. Communication is key. You need to tell people what you're going through. You guys, my therapist used to always tell me, and I'm on this rant, y'all. I'm on this rant. People cannot read your minds as intuitive as I am, because I take the time to read people and what they need. We're not all there, and we're not all supposed to be there. Not all of us want to read people, and that's okay. And I'm not talking about like being nosy and reading them. I'm talking about holding space for empathy on their needs. What kind of person is this? I want to hold space for them, or I want to love them, or how can I love them more? Right? I'm talking about don't expect people to know what's wrong with you. And this was a challenge for me. I don't know how to tell people my problems. Like, this is why I chose a therapist where we could exchange money, service. I did not know how to tell people that I needed love. Do not expect people to know. This is our downfall. There's an expectation of our ego. Just say in gratitude, like when people can be there for you, just take that moment, you guys. We're taking life for granted. Okay, we are taking life for granted. The clouds above me right now are orange and they're effing beautiful. The sun is setting and it's beautiful. I look up at the sky and it's beautiful. Gratitude. I had a woman once tell me, she's an older woman, running, I was running in my own head, and she's like, that's all you're wearing while you run, she's you're gonna catch a cold. Thank you for the love, because you know what, I need mothering. And that was effing beautiful. I didn't tell her that, but in my head I just said thank you so much, and I had a big smile on my face. I needed care that day. I don't talk about it. Just that little bit. You're going to get sick. That care. You guys, we have to just stop for 1 second and stop ignoring the blessings, because we're walking around looking like, oh, we don't have $1 million. We don't have this. Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, are you effing kidding me? Waking up on my drive, I see all these homeless tents, people having to survive, and they're out here getting it. They're not complaining. It doesn't matter if they're drug addicts or not, you guys. Let's stop judging, because we all sin. We all got issues. Okay? What I see is people out in the streets, homeless for whatever reason, trying to make it. When I see that, I hold my cross in my car. I have a rosary, and I say, Lord, I get a home, I get to share my beautiful space with someone wonderful. I have a nice bed. I have my pet, my guide. That's a gift. That's a gift. Someone saying, good morning with a smile on their face is a gift. Give somebody the gift, you guys. Even if you feel like you are in a funk and you're having a bad day, you feel like everything is wrong in your life, test it. This is a method of healing, by loving someone else when no one has loved you. Become the love you never had. It's not easy. It could be as simple as good morning and a smile, a genuine smile. Try it. I want you guys to try this, because this is where the light enters, when we're able to get out of our own way and we stop looking at the world like everybody's against us for a second. As hard as it is, open your heart. Open your heart, and you will feel an enormous amount of light, gratitude, little things. Me being here with you today. I got to pet a dog this morning. People going out their way, in the morning to say good morning. They don't know me. I don't owe them anything. That is a gift. Okay? Let's change our perspective to help each other grow. I love you.